The war between Earth and the Drav-Kyn Empire had raged for 17 years. It started with a single mining colony on the edges of Alpha Centauri, humanity's first real step into deep space. The Drav-Kyns claimed the system was sacred. Humanity claimed it was survival. Neither side backed down, and the stars burned red for nearly 2 decades. Captain Marcus Hale of the Terran Expeditionary Force was a soldier forged by endless battles. He had lost friends, his home, and even his belief that peace was possible. His only loyalty was to his squad, and the mission, on a cold night orbiting a ruined world, he received new orders. Infiltrate a Drav-Kyn outpost, retrieve intel on their new planetary weapon, and destroy the base. It was supposed to be a simple operation. Silent, swift, surgical. But fate had other plans. The Drav-Kyn outpost was not a military base. It was a research facility filled with scientists and civilians. When Marcus and his unit breached the walls, the scene before them was chaos. Not soldiers preparing for war, but terrified aliens running for their lives. His men hesitated. One mistake could mean death. Then he saw her. She stood in the center of the lab, tall, with pale blue skin that shimmered like moonlight and eyes that glowed gold. Unlike the others, she didn't run. She stared right at him, her gaze piercing through the chaos. For a second, Marcus froze. He didn't know why. Maybe it was how calm she looked in the middle of destruction. Maybe it was something else, something unexplainable. Then a young soldier behind him panicked and opened fire. The bullets tore through glass and light, hitting one of the consoles near the woman. An explosion followed, throwing Marcus across the room. The world went white. When he woke up, the lab was burning. His men were gone. The alien woman was still there, trapped under debris, bleeding but alive. Marcus could have left her. It was a logical thing to do. She was the enemy. But for the first time in years, logic didn't win. He pulled her out of the wreckage and carried her into the forest beyond the compound. That single act, saving an alien instead of finishing the mission, would change everything. Middle, 2 enemies in the dark. They traveled for days, moving through the dense crimson woods of Vega 9. The planet's sun barely pierced the fog. The Drav-Kyn woman, whose name he later learned was Elithra, spoke little. Her injuries were severe, and Marcus had no medkit left. He used what little rations he had to keep her alive. At first, she refused help. "Why save me, human? You've killed my people." Marcus didn't answer. He didn't know how to explain it. Maybe he was tired of killing. Maybe he just wanted to do one thing right. When she could finally walk, she demanded to be left alone. But she didn't know the forest like he did. The wild was filled with biomechanical predators, ancient machines left from a forgotten war. He saved her again that night when Metallic Wolf lunged from the shadows. She watched him fight with raw ferocity, human, but somehow more than that. Afterward, she silently shared her food with him. Days turned into weeks. The hunter and the hunted became partners. She told him about her people. The Drav-Kyn, once healers and builders, turned to war by desperation. Their home world had been dying long before the humans arrived. The planetary weapon wasn't designed to destroy. It was meant to terraform, to save a dying ecosystem. Marcus listened in silence, guilt gnawing at him. He had killed her friends, destroyed her work, all based on orders that were lies. In return, she listened to his story, of Earth, of lost comrades, of watching the stars burn for a war no one truly understood. Somewhere in that alien wilderness, something human grew between them. Trust, then warmth, and eventually something deeper. One night, while hiding in the wreckage of an ancient ship, Marcus asked, "Do you ever think we could stop fighting?" Elithra's golden eyes softened. "Only if someone chooses to make the first mistake." He smiled faintly. Saving you might have been mine. She touched his hand gently. Conflict. The return of the war. But peace doesn't last in a universe at war. A month later, Terran scouts found their signal. Marcus's tracker, one he thought was broken, had transmitted his location. The next morning, drop ships thundered from the sky. He knew they were coming for him. A soldier who disobeyed orders, who abandoned his mission, who saved the enemy. That was treason. Alithra grabbed his arm. You must go. They will kill you. I'm not leaving you again, he said. They'll kill you too. Her expression was calm but determined. Then we fight. Together. They took shelter in the ruins. As Terran forces closed in, Alithra activated what was left of her terraforming device. Not as a weapon, but as a shield. A sphere of blue light surrounded them, pulsing like a heartbeat. Marcus fought off his own men to protect her, shouting for them to stop, but to the soldiers above, he was already a traitor. The battle was chaos. Steel against steel, human against human, with one alien woman standing at the center, refusing to flee. Then the commander of the Terran unit stepped forward. Colonel Rains, Marcus's old superior. You've lost your mind. Hail! You're siding with the enemy. She's not the enemy. Marcus shouted. The weapon wasn't meant to kill. We've been lied to. But no one listened. The soldiers opened fire. Alithra screamed as a plasma bolt hit her shoulder. Marcus shielded her, dragging her back to the console. He had a choice, surrender or complete her mission. She had told him earlier that the machine could restore the dying ecosystems across the sector, but it would require a human DNA key to finish activation. He looked into her eyes. She knew what he was thinking. Marcus, if you do this, there's no going back. I know. He pressed his hand to the console. The machine roared to life, flooding the valley with brilliant blue light. The blast threw everything into silence. When the light faded, the soldiers were gone, teleported miles away by the energy surge. The planet's skies cleared for the first time in centuries. Ford began to regrow in seconds. Rivers refilled. The ground breathed again. But Alithra was on her knees, fading. The energy had drained her life force. Why? Marcus whispered, holding her close. Because you made a mistake, she said weakly, and so did I, but together they became something beautiful. Then she smiled, and her body dissolved into particles of light, merging with the living world she had saved. Marcus screamed her name, but she was gone, ending one mistake, no regrets. Weeks later, the war ended. When Terran Command learned the truth about the Drav K1 weapon, public outrage swept through the colonies. Peace treaties followed. Both species agreed to rebuild together. But Marcus Hale was never seen again. Some say he was court-martialed and executed for treason. Others say he disappeared into the forests of Vega 9, living among the reborn world Alithra had saved. Years later, explorers reported strange sightings, a lone human walking beneath glowing trees, speaking softly to the air, as if to someone unseen. Sometimes, when the night was quiet, the wind carried whispers in the old Dravkawan tongue, and glowing footprints appeared beside us in the sand. They said it was the ghost of a woman who once believed that one mistake could change the universe, and the man who loved her never regretted making it.